Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, winter, Winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome. Winter, 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 Winternomics. Winter, winter, winter. Welcome. Winter, winter, Winternomics.
Are you live?
Yeah.
That thing got reset, so you
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches.
What it do? Alright, I think I got this thing fixed. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday, motherfuckers. How'd you guys do over the weekend? Shout out to everybody who joined the members part of YouTube and had their first concept call this weekend in Discord. What'd you guys think of some of the things that you learned? You don't have to spill the beans on it, but you know, should have changed the way that you see the entire show and the majority of the intel that you've been studying for all this time, blogs and so on. I did a blog read where I showed you basically what I really meant in my blogs and gave you a little background, some concepts and price. So for those that attended it, I see that my view count's 85, so clearly some people are not happy that I created a member section. But those freemium people don't really do anything with anything anyway, so don't really give a shit. So for those of you that aren't retarded and will step over, you know, dollars for pennies, what'd you think of your first concept call and learning to read Truth of BTC for what it exactly meant? Change the way you perceive everything, right? And so now you know there's actually a lot more content in each show than anybody really realizes. Just like there's a lot more content in the blog than anyone really realizes, right? And one of the things we talk about, one of our biggest concepts is like information hidden in plain sight. But the mechanics of how information is hidden in plain sight is really the thing that's super fascinating to myself. It's the mechanics completely involve your ability to perceive information, you know, and it's limited by a cognitive process and conditioning that has put you in a place where you see the world through a really narrow band, and you are staring at a show that literally can change completely based on the way you see things, you know. And it's not that there's more information; you're just not processing things, and the why you're not processing things is something most people don't ever tackle. So, I try to help you guys out, in your thought process, and what ultimately changes is that your utility in the show changes. The show doesn't change, right? There's hundreds of shows, and you'll realize there was a far more intel in the show now than you ever thought, you know. So when I say that everything you need to help you get going is in the show, I wasn't kidding. All of our information is definitely public, and you more than have enough to use to get yourself from A to Z. So, how you think about a thing matters. You've heard me say that before. So now I think a lot of you have a lot of perspective on why I say that. So it's not that we ever have any secret info, like the oil calls and things like that, The mic is lower than usual. Hold on. 1 second. MacBook. Is this it? MacBook output. Mic check. Mic check. Is that higher now? Oh shit. There's like a different controller in my volume. Test, test, test. Is that better? It's higher now? Okay. Alright, I have some secondary program fucking with my volume. Okay, I got it. Cool, cool. Alright, so all set. So 107, I would say like, you know, salty vibes, some hater vibes. Clearly we have a drop off in viewers since we did what we did with it. So like for many of you we talked about, I talked to somebody last night that hasn't been around a while. We are rolling OnlyFans into Discord through this kind of merger of YouTube and Discord. So there is no more, you know, OnlyFans is going to warehouse some of the training videos that you guys still use, and those will still sit there. We're not going to delete them or anything, but we are going to port them over to YouTube members only section and upload them here, and eventually, like, you know, wind down OnlyFans. But for now, like, you know, there's a lot of old stuff on there still useful, so we'll leave it up so you can use it. But now to make sure we don't have like a notification problem for people, we're going to put it inside Discord, so when we drop, you know, analysis, you get it the second we drop it and you know about it. It's too much of a hassle to try and like, you know, cross notify folks for that stuff. So we'll kind of make a seamless environment. I already dropped some analysis for you guys for the SPY, what you're watching for today's ranges. If we're going to keep on de-risking, you know, where you care about it, and, you know, the ability for the market to accelerate lower. And like we're going to work around like how you make plans on those things inside Discord for everybody that wants to, you know, be part of the idea of training a smarter audience. That's something I told you was always my goal to do, was, you know, in order to have an audience that was like really benefiting from market intel, they had to have some level of training. And it's kind of the thing that, like, you know, CNBC would never do, is reach into the audience and actually tell you, like, you know, things that would benefit you, and learning how to, you know, put a plan into action, you know, and looking at the markets, along with having good, accurate analysis. So we're one step closer to that kind of like, you know, seamless environment. So hope you guys that have, you know, that are going along for the ride are enjoying what we're doing. That being said, we are always in a time crunch, so it's 8:40. Let me see if I got a scorecard for anyone for the weekend. Somebody should have put something. Let's see. I think I know there's one. Let's see if there's got another one. All right. What's this? Did I not do this? Holy crap. What is this? First war story. What a mess. What the fuck, Fetty? Holy shit. What is this? Oh, you traded the megaphone. Look at that. Oh, God. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. That's ETH. That's epic. So I gotta see what you wrote here. I'm curious. TLDR, I got killed multiple times. Okay. Hi, Kaz, Vicky, Eco. Fetty here. I wrote y'all a book. Okay, so like I told you guys, like a lot of times people are only putting up, you know, we changed the title from scorecards to war stories to make sure we kind of encourage people to write both, like the good and the bad of what was happening, not just like, you know, the wins. Because we could kind of like dissect like things that kill you, and it would probably give us some insights too on what's going on in the market. One thing you see with what Fetty posted right now is he posted this megaphone pattern, or expanding range, which we've been talking about a bit. And it's a product of like in a liquid marketplace, right? That you get these kinds of ranges. You don't see them very often. You see them when there's a liquidity problem. But now you're seeing them enough that like pretty much everybody's seeing this regularly. And this is kind of like, you know, the shitty thing. And with expanding ranges, you really don't have a technical logic of like how to figure out where it will end or which direction it plays. You just try to figure out that one is happening and then stay the fuck away from it. And all you can really watch are thresholds, if it's going to ultimately correct across and go through the other side, or correct across and stay out, and not just become an expanding 2B, like a stop run of each side. While they're forming, as they form, this is kind of the thing. You don't know that that's what you're in until like after the fact. And in a liquid marketplace, right, all you could really do to avoid this is sit on your hands. You know, you really don't see these coming until you, like, after a while, you're like, fucking Christ, that's what was happening. So this is a good one to put down, because it's something that like a lot of people are experiencing right now. Like in the last 3 to 4 weeks, a lot of people have noticed this, from crypto to, you know, stocks, that the market's a liquid as shit. All right, so let's see. First of all, everything that happened is kind of blurry because I have not journaled my trades. First mistake. But I remember see the biggest flaws when looking at the chart. After watching Emerald City and Mr. Smith, where Kaz gave us a green bullish sentiment, I was entering longs at first. I've seen the first pump where I wanted to price to form a higher floor, which it kind of did, I think, even though it was pretty violent. This gave me enough conviction to start to place my entries. Second mistake. I didn't wait for clear structures to form and entered willy-nilly, which indicates impatience and FOMO. Third mistake. I guessed my stops were too narrow for too low when considering the choppiness of the chart, which at the time I didn't see. I also didn't know that this was caused by low liquidity in the market, which eventually formed a megaphone pattern later on. I had 2 to 3 successful trades in the next pump, indicated by the yellow arrow, which I destroyed because of the next big mistake. Fourth mistake, after the second successful trade, the price corrected itself rather viciously. I caught a short there after I saw it. At that time, I thought that was the bull run was over, and I continued entering shorts. I was biased and didn't realize that it could just be a bigger bull flag. Fifth mistake, as the price pumped again quite a bit, I was entering shorts one after another. Got another agitated, frustrated, got more agitated, frustrated, and just revenge trading. Not seeing the bull run was still going. I was so zoomed in, greedily trying to make back my losses and continuing to fail. Prime example of dumb money. At the top, I was just exhausted and took a step back and accepted my losses. The only wins I took away from this, a very valuable lesson, is keeping your emotions at bay. Zooming out is necessary to see the bigger picture, and plan carefully is key. I guess the only thing I did right was wear a stop loss so I wouldn't liquidate my own ass. Big thanks to Kazvik and Eco for being there. I see and appreciate the value you create and offer. I'm looking forward to participate more than I did previously. All right, so I think it seems like an honest reflection. And in this, this is a context thing. Where you're at. So one thing, when you are choppy and you have low liquidity, it means you need a higher resolution of time to have more volume, pack into a price structure to give you the liquidity to play. The market is choppy, and so super low resolution trading is super fucking dangerous right now without there being a good coverage of other leveraged traders in the marketplace. You're really trading against nothing, and the market looks and feels empty like that now. So this is a good reflection, yeah. Back up. Honestly, there can never really be that many plans in either direction at the speed you're taking them here. You do need some contexting, for this to make sense what you're trying to do. But again, right, the market's not really the place for this kind of low resolution scalping at the moment. Yeah, I appreciate you putting that out there. And it's a good thing. Point. Make sure you start journaling. Keep track of your emotions, and don't just get caught up in hitting the button, and losing track of what you're trying to do. What resolution you're trying to trade. Are you trading a macro uptrend in a particular resolution, and are you scaling into it in a lower resolution, or are you just hitting the button, aimlessly? So, I think you understood that though by what you wrote. All right, so not bad. Let's see if we can pull off my exit time for this. See what we can do. So let's take a look at some macro things, shall we? Only one scorecard of the weekend, so we definitely noticed a drop off, like I said, in activity in Discord, in Twitter, influencers, everything. The market is definitely thinning out. So we definitely have to pay attention to what the Fed does this week. The Fed, there are bets out there. The Fed will adjust rates a full point, a full interest, 1% interest rate. That would be pretty probably violent movements in the market if they did it. But with the CPI being as high as it is, there's now inklings they might do that. So Jay Powell still controls the game, and September was when they had first hinted they may ease off things, but now it's looking like They may leave it open-ended to say they still have to see what happens after this adjustment and what CPI says again. And once they do that and they leave it like that, it's gonna probably put a certain degree of uncertainty into the market. So these are the backdrop of what we're keeping track of right now, with that seasonal rotation in the VIX and where the market is currently, and the fact that there seems to be a great deal of damage to liquidity of the marketplace. There are two more. Did you guys just post that like while I'm on the show? Because I know that wasn't there. Let me look. Oh shit! Yeah, there are two more. Holy cow! All right. Who's this? Okay, getting lost in the optical illusion. Sup, guys? I tried to keep it short, but it didn't work. After having banger plays from the summer lows in my last scorecard, I had some activities that got me. What's up? Okay. After having banger plays from summer lows in my last scorecard, I had some activities that got me away from the market for a bit, but also reset the momentum I had before. When getting back to the market, I had some losses, which are just cost of business, but after a while, the state of the market also started to push me to take less trades and be less proactive in looking for plans, entries, and etc. As I was and preparing for a move to another continent for at least 6 months to completely focus on my grind, process and goals cut off, and distractions. Uh, okay. This took its toll also as I started to get more busy in my business as well and more focused there, the less I did to markets. I don't regret it. It was planned trade and it paid off with returns in the business and some of the time off markets, but it gives context to the effects of the market and what I was busy with. This week, as Kaz gave us prep sheets, I dedicated myself to get back to structure plans and play if they occurred and did, and lost 2 Rs. We can learn from our winners, but cutting our losers sometimes gets us more gains than focusing on what we do good. So therefore, this scorecard has no winners, but just the 2 lost trades, and I hope we can all gain perspective from it. First trade. So let's see. This is huge. All right, let me hurry up and get through this. 1423 on ETH was discussed on stream, with ETH lagging on stocks that were already structurally more down. I watched the level and waited for structure and played it. Hindsight, the structure was zoomed in and was nowhere near a confirmation of breakdown of the level on the right time frame. Proxies like the VIX dead level Kaz gave us, the action of the SPY, I posted the zoom in and zoomed out entry of it, but also inversed the chart that I only checked afterwards, which looked pretty extended in hindsight. As Kaz says, sometimes something that has a high probability to structure first to push out the FOMOers and explosion of the move. When those people are back to sleep, it can go again, which happened to me as well. I don't think I read that right. Let me see it again. I posted the zoomed in and zoomed out entry of it, but also inverse chart that I only checked afterwards, which looks pretty extended in hindsight, as Kaz says. Something that has a high probability to structure first, to push out the FOMOers and explosion to the move, and when those people are back to sleep, it can go again, which happened to me as well. Okay, I think I get what you're trying to say. Okay, trying to see the results of this. Second trade. I had a plan for both sides, and therefore I had an area pointed out where it would be possible to structure out to be an upside move after getting stopped out on the short, basically shorting the end of the run. On that time frame, the structure occurred, and as the title says, I got lost in the optical illusion along the top of the next leg of that time frame. After also getting stopped out on that, didn't make a new plan for possibilities and fell victim for exactly what the market intended to do. Kill the FOMOs at 1423, create upside moves to create the urge there, and boom, go back. Both moves wrong, and now everyone's asleep. The real move happened. Have the before and after pictures of the plan and what happened. See notes. Okay. So did you take this play? Oh, you bought this play. I get what you're saying. Ah, gotcha. Okay. So you bought this rotation and then you didn't actually play this one. When this one showed up, you no longer wanted to take this play. I got what you're saying. I hope this helps anyone that possible has made the same mistakes or keep anyone from making these. After discussing and voiced multiple times how cutting your losing tries down is at least as effective as improving your good trades. I think it was important to share these things. Thanks, Kazvik and Eco. Having a blast and Eco riding the infinite learning process. Good shit. I appreciate you sharing that. Like, definitely the market has been difficult and people have been playing, moves that seems like you can never catch a trend. And it's, you don't want to like back away from mechanical planning and fall victim to your emotions where you stop like, being mechanical about putting plans in the market and ultimately missing the play that you had planned for because your emotions are in the dump. That just exacerbates the problem of you taking certain plays and not really benefiting from the statistics of your mechanics. So that's pretty good. Paper trade ETH. This is Abracadabra. Hello. With markets being as they are, paper trading helps me to practice and stay objective and to implement concepts I've learned in voice and Discord on chart in real time. Thanks for the opportunity to learn from you. So this is a good one. So this is her play on the same short that Jans had a problem with. And this is worth looking at to kind of see what Jans did, right? Jans bought the rotation of this bull flag and she shorted the breakdown of this structure, which began the bull flag Jans bought. So this is really, really an interesting contrast to see this happen here after looking at this, right? She literally shorted this, and he looked at it as with a long bias to buy the rotation here. So I think this is like amazing to see, like, who was on the other side of your idea. And this is one of the crazy things about it. Like, so many of you sharing stories, you get like, this is a heck of a thing to see how she viewed the chart, to see this as an idea to short versus how he viewed the exact same short to see it as an opportunity to long and saw no opportunities to short. So, the real beauty in this is looking at multitudes of war stories and putting them together to see the sentiments in the market and who made what decisions where, because you have both sides of this equation right now. And I think this is hugely insightful to see. So I appreciate you guys sharing stuff like that with that level of detail. And then, of course, Easy dropped our week events we have to pay attention to. Holy fuck. Don't forget this stuff. So we have this in Discord in the market prep channel. Pay attention to all of your red events with currencies being in focus with DXY. It's like 20-year highs. Every one of these events matters. Tuesday CPI you want to see for CAD, monetary policy for AUD. So this is their central bank talking. This is New Zealand central bank, probably the least impactful of all your central bankers you care about. That was yesterday. You will want to see what this guy does, and then of course Jay Powell, what he does on Wednesday, what they say is going to be huge to what ultimately goes on going forward. So the expectations is 0.75, but there's now like a 20% chance they could go a full fucking point. That would be pretty epic. And if they left the window open to like saying they're not done, they don't really know still, they would cloud the future visibility of when they're going to come out of the market doing this. So this is worth noting. Swiss National Bank behind them. Swiss franc's been insanely strong in Euroland. Worth looking at what they say. GBP, what they say. The pound is right now going off a fucking cliff. And with the queen dying, it looks like the fucking pound has lost its luster. It's dropping to the floor against franc, against dollar, against euros, against everything. So probably worth taking a look at them also. All of this stuff will be impactful to care about. At least through Thursday, you care about every one of these events. And on Friday, flash service PMI, you'll care about this in the market. And okay, it's not Powell. Powell speaks here, 2 o'clock on a Friday. So all week long, this is a huge, huge week of red events. While we're in a pretty well-structured uptrend in VIX, this is kind of scary. There's a lot of stuff here to give you any one event to cause really serious shit to happen. Outside of that, I don't think anybody in earnings matters, but there's enough red events and Powell speaking past the FOMC equals pay attention all week long. Earnings, don't think we have anybody. Wow, that's really fucking empty, so we don't give a shit about that. Whew, that was a lot of stuff. Bank holidays for the Queen's funeral. Good to know. Appreciate you throwing that out there. Welcome to Acolytes, J Squid and Luke Van. Appreciate seeing some of you guys there. So you guys learn how to use stuff in the show better, learn how to use the blog better, learn how to some basics in risk management, things like that. Jump on the YouTube members and you'll be put into our Discord so you haven't been thrown out by being a jackass troll before. And then we are just like a live trading room, around the show, built around the show's intel and logics and concepts. So if you're interested in that, learning more about it, hop in there. Again, it's also the replacement for OnlyFans. So it's OnlyFans on steroids. It's a good way to put it. So, jump in there. If you just want some cool emotes, you can just be an apostle. So, all right, let's do macro things. We are at 8:56. I do not want to keep on always being fucking late to getting off this damn show. So, let us get this done and get you guys on your way. All right. SPY is where we'll start, where we always start. Where's my gap chart? All right. So we keep track of this guy. This downtrend we drawn in, as we pull back from the uptrend of summer. And so we follow this trajectory, just like we follow this trajectory out of summer, right? We follow this guy, all with in mind that this could potentially be that macro bear flag we talked about. And this could be the unfolding of it. So don't know why that guy's twisted. How the hell did that happen? What the fuck? How did that even happen? That this could be, off of this trigger, he roll code right into the trigger and just bounce right off of it down. And that's a trigger from Ragnarok and the Phantom Zone range. So now he's down at the lows of this. He's extending this wave that we have here. And we want to kind of keep an eye on, does he bottom into the summer lows here and make a higher floor? Or does he continue what looks like this macro bear flag and continue his way down? So either he's doing this pattern, right, where he's coming from the lows of summer, and he's about to set a higher corrective floor and then rotate through, or this is the trajectory of the macro bear flag. These are the only two scenarios that are possible where we're at right now. So that's a context on a little bit bigger resolution. So right now we're coming down. We gapped here. We want to look over at some of these levels you have, right? That was really this level right here. That level is what you gap through. So you always want to pay attention to your gap levels, right? Huge volume on these, really easy ranges to pay attention to. So this was the bottom of this gap, really good range between here and here. And so now he's gapping into this range onto this level at the number 2 box that we have down here. And this is the range you care about next, 380.54, by where he just gapped off of the bottom of this range. So you just kind of have zones between the gaps you're kind of watching as it comes down. He is pretty steep down, so at some point he is probably due for a corrective move, but you don't want to bet on call that before it shows you something. So he's gapping down from the close on Friday, and with that we probably want to check something like DXY. How strong is he? Sorry, coming into retarded range. So this is the DXY is. Where's the rest of this chart? Right. So we did this over here. So I have him split up in a couple places because he has so much shit on one of them. So this is the DXY. I haven't drawn on him really since this area. Over here, we kept drawing them since that area. And so you can kind of see the bull flag, the rotation. This is de-risk, slight pump in the markets, de-risk. And now you're structured out, which we showed you. He either sits in here or he rotates this guy out top of the high of the system, which we know is where we have a free and clear chance to get movement. And if he does it, there's a good chance that VIX gets pumped with him, which looks structurally just like the DXY right now, right? See the DXY and him? They literally look like the same thing. So if you get that gas move up through here, we put a trigger on the VIX above Leon, and we push out of this thing above this system, this is our line in the sand to de-risk further today. It's pretty easy to see, right? This is a pretty good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contacts on that, and we push out on that, get a DXY push. GBP USD, who's the weaker guy, he stays under here and pushes down from that, and we don't just have a 2B and a recoil. The market likely weakens out further. But you're at a pretty good inflection point to kind of tell you're either do or die right here. The GPs are going to the floor right fucking here, or he's going to recoil this level, which is going to reflect on the DXY, which allow it to take a breather right here and stall out from pushing out higher. So if that happens, the market has a chance to stall out itself. So that's kind of what you're watching for the day, really, whether you watch the VIX or DXY. QQQ, so the tech side of that stuff. We told you how to level last week to pay attention to. That was worth paying attention in here. So it's this major low here that you ran under, you had good interaction with. This is kind of like your line in the sand for the price to continue through the floor. We break down to the lows, break down to this, DXY, VIX are strong, then you pretty much have a good line to make a plan around if we're going to head lower through there, or have a chance to do something like this and bounce back towards the angle, right? That's kind of all that really happens, right? You flag back to the angle as you fall rapidly, flag back to the angle, fall rapidly, flag back to the angle. So that's really where that can occur from. Can be a low resolution uptrend for like a couple weeks if it were to happen, or it can keep on going at this speed just straight through the fucking floor, right? So these are at least the thresholds that we care about that give us an idea of what the fuck to pay attention to decide if it's going to do a continuation or if it has a chance to stall the fuck out. So that was a mouthful. So VIX, DXY, blah, blah, blah. So now we take that over to crypto things and want to look at the USDT.D. Jeez, bro, I cannot fucking say that shit. So this guy, right, is kind of like our DXY for crypto specifically, and him being bullish is bad for crypto. He pumps, crypto gets smoked. So we see that here with that exact inverse move. And so this bull flag rotation got a little bit of a pump, and now he's going right underneath it. And he's either a 2B, like we just talked about in the stock market right there, like, where we saw QQQ run through a low and possibly recode back. That's worth paying attention to, but we sustain under this, and crypto kind of starts to lean to confirm like what we're seeing in the stock market, right? But for right now, crypto is still struggling to fully break down. ETH post-merge has gotten extremely weak, and he has cracked that level. I told you this is the most obvious head and shoulders pattern in the world, right? I don't use shit like that, but that's what some of the technicians would call it. So right now, this is underneath there, and this would be seen as a pretty big negative. You have like a continued trend structure down. You probably should do the same thing to this you're doing to the stock market, and outline that trend channel down if he's waving down, right? So for right now, this is the summer low holds, and ETH finds a floor above this, on top of this system, and the market's got to look near-term bounce, or we keep de-risking, DXY keeps pushing, USD.T keeps pushing, and the markets keep de-risking across every risk class. The reality is the market's really illiquid right now. We want to pay attention to that. This guy here, let's change his trajectory to match ETH, and so now that's the low resolution uptrend that underlies the de-risking of crypto. This stays intact, crypto stays getting wrecked, NFTs stay getting wrecked worse. All right, so that's those things. So yeah, I was talking about some currency stuff and looking at like GBP. GBP is like really, the queen passing might be more of a sign for this fucking country than people really think about. Like GBP is seeing some historic fucking levels. Like they're going back 20 years across many things. This is GBP franc right now, and this is a fucking 40-year low on the GBP Swiss franc. Like, I think the queen passing might mean a little bit more than people realize. But GBP USD, right? This guy's down in places he hasn't been since fucking like 1980, since the 1980s. GBP, Euro GBP. The Euro's getting smoked, but the reality is that the Euro is actually holding its ground against the pound itself. The pound itself is actually really, one of the worst of breeds out there. GBP CAD. Looking at this guy as well, right? So as a basket goes, GBP is in a pretty critical spot, historically. This is also going back fucking like, 30 plus years. And GBP AUD, right? So we'd actually put this on the show before. That was worth paying attention to. And so, for you guys who are currency, currency traders, or even people in the UK, you may not think of your currency being in a place where you're at in a position where you should hedge assets. We talked about that with guys in the European Union area when Putin was showing himself there, but there's definitely something fucking pretty crazily wrong inside of the GBP when you look at him like versus like his European peers. So definitely something that I thought was worth bringing up and putting on the show this morning. So that is our macro section. What is it? 9:05. All right, guys, get all that. Manchester United earnings, what? Yeah, the news flow is actually fucking crazy this week, so definitely pay attention to that. and it should be decent volatility in many markets. You know, currencies, there's a lot of news flow there to fucking move currencies a lot. Whenever you see central banks talk, that's like probably your most impactful events to currencies. So, all right, you guys got all that. Did you guys let's see what symbols you got? Jester, Meta. So yeah, I thought I could talk about Meta. We talked about Facebook before. I'm not even gonna call that shit Meta. Like the fuck, I'm gonna call it Facebook. Fuck him. There's nothing meta about this fucking company. Fucking pleb. So we talked about this range to pay attention to last time. And like I said, he's weak. He's one of your cheat sheets in OnlyFans. And pretty much when we talked about Apple and Google simultaneously, you know, using the privacy narrative to effectively turn off like 80% of Zuckerberg's business, that's the real scramble to become, you know, metaverse oriented, is that his business is actually dead. Facebook, for as big a company as it appears, is really just a parasite attached to like the Android and iOS ecosystems, siphoning off data to fucking sell. And really, Google and Apple could just take those businesses from them. They don't need something like this to be there. They could monetize their own data. And so they effectively cut him off. You know, he'd go into a massive size by having access to those two ecosystems. But right now, he really doesn't have a replacement for that. If any of you have Facebook accounts, it's something we talked about in the channel, you notice that it's like trying to recommend you people you've never seen before and force engagement now, and pretty much doesn't actually market you any products that you fucking give a shit about. They've lost like all of their fucking like back end, research. So I think this company, like on a fundamental basis, is literally dead inside. And Zuckerberg is panicking to figure out how to save this thing. But right now, I think, you know, you follow the trend on this guy. He stays under here. I think he can get demolished. He gets under like this level, this last major low here from 18, and I think he's fucking toast. You know, but I think Zuckerberg is in some deep fucking shit right now. I do not think he is the saving grace of the metaverse by any stretch of the imagination. Dow 100 year. Damn, really? Who brought that up? All right, I'm gonna get to that one. I have to open a different chart to get that. Myrna, Oxy, M. Let me see if I can do those in a row. Myrna. Is that the chart for him? That's interesting. That's an OG one, but that's a pretty good level to pay attention. He's under right there as a resistance. All right, so keep that in mind. Oh, I have the same level. Okay, cool. It's a trigger. So why does this look like that? So I put here, if he got under this trigger and he flagged it, he could go up off the trigger if he resisted it and dump down. So he kind of did this, but he didn't really get to the floor of the initial wave down. So that's what you watch if he's going to continue right now. This is the range for him to either reemerge back above here to do this or do that. So let him get outside of this and he can continue lower if he gets outside this range. Oxy. This is Buffett's play. So looking at Oxy, this is the wrong chart. Okay, so we did this one for Oxy. So we looked at this. It said projected a bull flag after you rotate up to the highs. And if this is a bull flag, this is just the trajectory is different. So let's go ahead and we can change this and redraw it for what it is. So with him breaking lows there, this is kind of what you do. And he's a bull flag until he takes all this out, right? If he rotates this congestion, then, you know, you have to pay attention to this. All right, that's that kind of rising channel formation that can be a little dangerous if he wants. Let's go up to this res, right? You can get, whenever you see this kind of thing, right, remember that shape? He can correct across the grain, fuck people over, and then rotate, and then this becomes like a higher floor, and then you go, oh, uptrend, right? You end up seeing it as something after it forms itself out. So we look at it like this, you know, you look at a structure like that, you very much, in a longer span of time, right, do something like that and completely fucking annihilate people. But generally, we see prices leaning like this into the push. That basically creates the FOMO for people who aren't part of this part of the wave. So you always kind of watch for that kind of shit, you know, if you see it look like that. Like, trying to find you a good place where you see that. I don't have a perfect setup for it, but you guys see this all the time on the show. We show you that a lot to watch for. So that's kind of what I think is kind of, you know, what you watch for him right now. and you need oil to get strong for him to really do this. So if he gets down to this angle and his oil rotates and gets a little strength to it, that's when this would probably be a good idea to try and play a play that he rotates at least within this this range. What was the other one? Where is it at? Oxy M BHP HD. Okay, M Macy's, we talked about him. Interesting spot, right? Regarding the whole de-risk conversation, the market's going to go further. We've drawn this as a possible, possible higher floor to the wave structure of this entire pump coming out of the COVID lows, and it's still possible. He's really in an inflection point. Could this all break down and extend this bull flag lower and end up creating this floor still a little bit down here, a little bit higher still than ultimately down here? Yeah, totally. So you're really just tracking the angle of the pullback on this as a bull flag. You would just track this guy. So if he has to take out this low before you connect this, right now he's connectable here. So that's what you're watching. He slightly broke out, failed it, and is still hitting down. So he's still tracking that angle lower. So that's what you're waiting to see. If that flag rotates and the market's a lot healthier, then that will be something really worth paying attention to. Oh, HD, I remember. HD, we had this guy in here, the cheat sheet, and so ultimately this guy, this low is key to this guy holding and ultimately not making a different bull flag. If this guy bounces anywhere before this low gets taken out, this bull flag is still valid. So this is the trigger we think is worth paying attention to. He did rotate up off of it once. He's back underneath it. I don't think he's a good idea until he recovers this trigger, which is the old system high here from 2020. So if the market keeps on de-risking and he keeps falling through these levels, he would be bearish, and if the market's de-risking hard and VIX pushes any higher than this, guys like this, any big name stocks are gonna get blasted off a cliff. BHP. Okay, so let's see. BHP. I don't think I have that with anything BHP. I don't have a chart for that guy anywhere. Really? A non-energy mineral steel. I don't know. Something about that I just don't like. This is kind of an ugly setup in this guy. I don't know. I think I'd like to see him do something else before I'd make a play. I'd make a call on it. So this range is probably playable for him to get here. He needs something better structured, but I think he needs to stay above this level here to make a play towards this level, and then ultimately play him leaving within range of this high. So like something like that, like a setup on top of here. Yeah, I think it needs more time, this guy, to see what he ultimately does. If he pushes through, what he does if he gets here. But this is the angle I think for right now. You'd want to see him rotate through if he stays on top of this trigger. So if he pushes through here and comes back, or if he stays on top here and goes through it, that's kind of what you'd pay attention to. But he probably needs a little bit more time, I think. Ah, damn, not that. Dow 100 year is the OG Dow 100 is this guy. So haven't updated this thing since 2018, but this guy's been pretty spot on for a long time. So we look at him from this location here, this little box range we have, is number 3, is this location. Corrector structure that in real time looks relatively scary due to crowd hysteria that's fueled by MSM, helping to exaggerate perceptions of the move, right? 1, 2, and 3 are here. These locations within this range I isolated. 3 is that right here. 1 range is a range like this coming out of the trench. 2 is a range here. 3 is a range here. So when we look at this guy, we zoom in and give context like what's happening under Biden, right? Nothing's really as dire as people think. This is really the pullback that we're experiencing right now from November, the Fed de-risking it. And, you know, if it's anything like the previous ones, it doesn't really make it back here. This drop in Black Monday actually drops us back on this icebox range. And if you see that also back here, structurally, there's a correction that happened at the top of this range also here. So this is actually exactly what should be happening. It should be a corrective structure on top of this range. That's somewhere in here, the VIX extended VIX environment ends, and we get to have the period that will get known as the roaring 20s of our era. So I think this is like a correction we are waiting to finish. When you back up on this resolution, we're looking for this to finish somewhere north of this structure that happened in 2019. So good shout out on bringing this chart out again. It's a good one to keep context of like the broader picture of things. Things look really dire, really close up, right? But it's nothing nearly like that when you zoom out. Look at this thing. What am I on for time? 9:17. All right, I can't take this to 9:20, but good getting the Dow 100 in there. I think that's a good chart for us to all finish off on looking at. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Anybody that's interested in, like I said, getting Discord and being able to have expanded conversations on the content that we have in the show, and or review some of our concepts and stuff like that, jump in and hit the join button on our station. So appreciate everybody that is in there already, and look forward to showing you guys some really cool upgrades to the ecosystem and training a better audience. Stay safe out there, motherfuckers. Markets are liquid, very unsafe. We have a lot of events this week. Keep track of all of those. Be organized. Don't pay attention to too many things. If you don't need to be in the market with the levels of volatility we have, the levels of low liquidity we have, and market moving events, then be patient, wait it out, right? September is historically a bad period, and there's a lot of things out there that look like we're having that period right now, the seasonal period of September that nobody wants to see. So, best of luck to everybody. Try to keep everybody on the right side of things. We'll catch you on the flip. Peace out.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Winternomics. Welcome